signed the bill into law while in quarantine after his arrival from the United Kingdom. The Petroleum Industry Act provides legal, governance, regulatory and fiscal framework for the Nigerian petroleum industry, the development of host communities, and related matters. The Senate had passed the bill on July 15th and the House of Representatives followed suit on July 16th. The act is expected to replace the obsolete Petroleum Act of 1969. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, says the 2022-2024 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper has been prepared against the backdrop of global economic recovery amidst improved vaccination outlook and lower incidence of infection despite recent surge in the Delta variant. While speaking at an interactive session put together by the House Committee on Finance, the minister added that the framework shows that there are continuing global challenges in the aftermath of the COVID-19. Correspondent Sandra Michaels completes the reports.
The House Committee on Finance has begun its 10 days interactive meeting with stakeholders in the finance sector on the 2022 to 2024 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper. The Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, while presenting the overview of the 2021 budget expenditure, noted that the ministry in the upcoming years will collaborate with the National Assembly in putting efforts in the right direction in achieving a stabilized economy.
The supervision of the Parliament is also important in terms of the performance of the revenue generating agencies, especially government-owned enterprises. The Finance Bill made a provision to limit the expenditure of these agencies to no more than 50%. In the past, we have agencies that will have expenditure that is up to 90% of their turnover. We will continue to cooperate with and depend on the support of the National Assembly for improvement in the performance of our revenue.
The committee led by Rep. James Faleke from Lagos State mentioned that the 3-year plan is a major feature of the annual budget preparation cycle, which provides the basic estimates and assumptions for the annual budget.
Nigeria, like most developing countries, is currently facing severe fiscal crisis requiring serious fiscal discipline. The idea where the MD is recycle unnecessary capital projects in the budget without being involved in essential projects that will engender sustainable development in the country. The National Assembly through the Committee of Finance will scrutinize the capital goals line by line.
Earlier in his opening remarks, the Speaker, who was represented by the House Leader, Al-Azan Dogowa from Kano State, says the House of Representatives has the responsibility and authority to act on behalf of the Nigerian people, ensuring that the nation's resources are efficiently managed in the service of the public good.
The medium-term expenditure framework, fiscal strategy paper MTEP, will have a direct impact on the content of that appropriation bill, as well as on our ability to deliver on the promises of governance and development that we have made to the Nigerian people. It is therefore important for all of us to recognize and be guided by the fact that our gathering here today is of great strategic importance to our country's future.
Other stakeholders present at the meeting includes the Central Bank of Nigeria, Debt Management Office, Auditor General of the Federation, Nigeria Customs Service, amongst others. The Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper will, however, have a direct impact on the content of appropriations bill. From the National Assembly, Sandra Michaels reporting.
The National Industrial Court, NIC, has adjourned till September 15th a suit instituted by the federal government against striking doctors under the aegis of National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, had taken the striking doctors to court over abdication of their responsibilities, and the NIC summoned the doctors to explain why the no work, no pay rule should not be applied against them. Due to the government's failure to meet most of their demands, the resident doctors began an indefinite strike on August 2nd. Present at the court were key players of NARD and representatives of the Ministry of Health, while officials of Ministry of Labour and Employment were absent. In a briefing after the case was adjourned, President of NARD, Dr. Yilawa Okwai-Sui, thanked Nigerians for the show of love and empathy towards their cause, as the doctors were not unaware of the people's sufferings due to government's attitude to their welfare.
I want to deeply, on behalf of all resident doctors in Nigeria, thank you wholeheartedly for the show of love and empathy towards our cause. we are not unaware of the sufferings you all are going through due to government insincerity of purpose. It is 5 years and 11 months since we signed the memorandum of terms of settlement, yet government reneged. As we are aware today, the government sued us to the National Industrial Court for adjudication. As a law-abiding association, we were in court as summoned, but the Minister of Labour was absent, and only the Minister of Health were present. The case was adjourned to 15th of September 2021. We once again appeal to Nigerians to bear with us because a hungry doctor is a dangerous doctor.
Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has flagged off the distribution of about 5 million pieces of insecticide-treated mosquito nets to residents across 33 local government areas in the state. The flag-off ceremony, which took place at the International Conference Center, University of Ibadan, was part of efforts of the current administration in preventing and eliminating the scourge of malaria in the state, in line with one of its policy thrusts of providing qualitative health care for the people. Correspondent David Bello was there and reports that the exercise was in collaboration with other development partners across the world. More details are packaged in this report.
The scourge and prevalence rate of malaria is one public health concern in tropical Africa, with Nigeria accounting for 1/3 of mortality rate across the world, according to statistics. In its bid to address this health challenge, Oyo State government keying into the National Malaria Elimination Program and in partnership with the United States Agency for International Development (USAID) and other development partners rolled out free distribution of insecticide-treated nets for residents. In his keynote address before the flag-off, Governor Seyi Makinde explained that the net distribution would not only improve the health of mothers and children by reducing morbidity and mortality rates across communities, but would equally prevent malaria and reduce its burden on the state economy as well as healthcare system. The governor was represented by his Deputy Chief of Staff, Abdulmojid Mogbonjibola, also noted that the state would continue to collaborate with development partners while urging all stakeholders to support the initiative.
Our policy in Oyo State as a responsible government is to provide accessible, affordable and qualitative health care for all, especially children and women. It is in this wise that this administration will continue to reach out to development partners like USAID. These nets are actually a measure to prevent malaria, which should reduce the burden of malaria on the economy of the state and our healthcare system.
Earlier, speaking on behalf of the federal government, a representative of the coordinator, National Malaria Elimination Program, Mr. Mike Nwadikwe, acknowledged that Nigeria has begun to record significant progress in malaria prevention, noting that the federal government had adopted the use of insecticide-treated nets to eradicate malaria across the country. Also, Special Advisor to the Governor on Health, Dr. Fumi Salami, in a remark, stressed that there are 2,500 distribution points and cards will be distributed for households to access the free net to avoid chaos, while calling on traditional rulers and opinion leaders to encourage the people to get the free net.
The next process is we're flagging it off as we are here today. And with the flag off, what we're doing is that we're creating awareness and we're saying thank you to everybody. It's been a very tedious process. The next stage will be that we will flag it off at each local government so that we can create awareness at the local government level. Then we've already started we've actually completed transporting the nets to the local governments, and the nets are being transported from the local government to the distribution points. We have about 2,500 distribution points across the state, so you know how large the state is.
Representative of the USAID, Celestine Carr, representative from the World Health Organization, and other development partners in their various remarks commended the Oyo State government for effectively playing its part and unanimously agreed that the exercise will reduce maternal, neonatal, and infant mortality across the state. Highlight of the ceremony was a cultural display to create awareness on the use of mosquito net, as well as investiture on the Secretary to the State Government, Mrs. Olubanwo Adeosun, as a net ambassador. In Ibadan, David Bello reporting.
Former Former Head of State General Ibrahim Babangida believes Nigeria's unity should be strengthened rather than negotiated. Calls for secession, especially from the southern part of the country, have made headlines in recent years. Despite the agitations largely led by the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and most recently the Yoruba Nation agitators, Babangida is calling on Nigerians to support the country's leaders. On the annulment of the June 12, 1993 election, the ex-military president defended his decision, saying it was taking in the best interest of the nation.
Well, I think it's about the country, I think about most. God has been kind. He placed us on a position of leadership. So our current thinking will always be about the country. How did we do? Did we fare well in the country? Can the country prosper? Can the country go on? And we fought a war to keep the country one. Was it going to remain one? And so on. So a lot of thoughts about Nigeria, about its development, about its people, and about its well-being.
The poll, considered as Nigeria's fairest election, was keenly contested between the candidate of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Moshood Abiola, and Bashir Tofa of the National Republican Convention, NRC. The SDP flag bearer, better known as MKO Abiola, was believed to be coasting to victory before the election was annulled by Babangida, who cited irregularities at the time. The Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, Balarabe Ilela, yesterday has cautioned broadcast media to be wary of interest groups seeking to destabilize the country. He highlighted the activities of secessionists in the South and the impact of kidnappers, bandits, and terrorists across the country, urging the media to downplay content that could threaten peace. Ilela made this known while addressing chief executive officers of broadcast stations from the Northwest and Northeast in Kano. He also lamented the surge in social disorder, which he said is fast metamorphosing into crimes and conflict. The DG urged broadcasters to consider public interest first in their programs and news contents, saying the NBC will resist attempts by any group to destroy the country. He also reminded the executives of the terms and conditions they signed with the Commission before receiving operating licenses. It's the 1 p.m. news, still on Splash 105.5 FM. Still ahead, U.S. government gives conditions to recognize Taliban government in Afghanistan. In sports, Athletes Village reopens 1 week before Tokyo Paralympics begins. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll bring you more stories. Stay with us.
A school with a difference. Lead British International School, located in the tranquil area of Jericho, Ibadan, and the serene area of Grandpa, Abuja, was founded over 14 years ago.
Our mission is to equip future leaders by providing world-class educational and social experiences in a conducive with our core values of discipline, truthfulness, self-reliance, and creativity.
Our excellent school offers the best of the English and Nigerian curriculums. Lead British International School caters to the needs of 3 months old to 17 years. We have state-of-the-art boarding and day facilities. Entrance exams into all classes is ongoing every Thursday at the school premises located at Plot 5, 7 and 8, Akiola Magistrate, Jericho, Ibadan.
Application forms are on sale at 10,000 Naira. For further inquiries, contact 0808 187 5598 or 0803 384-2368.
Lead British International School, equipping future leaders.
Car owners them where they worry say you want to repair abi maintain your car without wahala. The king don't come o. Service King Auto Servicing Company where we say them get magic hand to turn your car to brand new with their ogbonge machine plus include personnel wey sabi well. Service King na your one-stop shop for all your car needs. Body work, engine work plus include spray painting and baking with general maintenance. Na diagnosis they go first do before they go begin repair am. Auto spare part na direct from Obodo Yibo them they import am. Even self na inside out them they clean car after the repair. Service King it and that gidigba for plot 36 College Crescent, not too far from Bevy High School, Okeado Ibadan. Them telewire na 091-3538-0000. Website www.serviceking.ng. Service King na them be king for motor repair.
fúnfún ó tún fi pẹ́ sílẹ̀ àbí ta ló máa ṣí géètì fún madam.
wo ọ̀gá awakọ̀ mo lè bọ́lẹ̀ kí n wọ kẹ̀kẹ́ tó kàn lẹ́yìn ẹ̀ o.
mo ń bẹ ṣeré ni o.
àǹtí ikọ́ yìí le o ó yẹ kẹ́ ẹ ṣàyẹ̀wò ẹ o.
èmi ò fẹ́ lọ sílé ìwòsàn kí wọ́n lọ ní mo ní àìsàn covid-19.
ẹ̀ ń wúkọ̀ pé ní covid-19 o àfihàn ikọ́ ọ̀fẹ́ àti ikọ́ covid-19 yàtọ̀ síra kò sì sọ́nà tẹ́ fi lè mọ̀ láì ṣe àyẹ̀wò èmi ti ní ikọ́ ife rí ọ̀fẹ́ ni mo ṣàyẹ̀wò mo sì gba ìtọ́jú lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ ikọ́ yìnyín gan lè jẹ́ ikọ́ ife o.
òótọ́ ló sọ ẹ yẹ̀ wò kí ẹ lè mọ̀ dájú.
nítorí ẹni tí ò lọ kò lè mọ̀.
ẹ yẹ ikọ́ yẹn wò fún ikọ́ ife.
ẹgbẹ́ ẹ̀wọ̀n ká mọ ohun tí ń ṣe.
tí o bá ní ikọ́ tó ti lo ọ̀sẹ̀ méjì láì kásẹ̀ nílẹ̀ ó lè jẹ́ ikọ́ ife o. ọ̀fẹ́ láyẹ̀wò àti ìtọ́jú ikọ́ ife. fún àlàyé ibi tí o ti lè ṣe àyẹ̀wò ikọ́ ife pé nọ́mbà kan sí orílẹ̀ fún ìtọ́jú ikọ́ ife ní 3340. ìkéde ìwá látọ̀dọ̀ ilé iṣẹ́ ìjọba àpapọ̀ tó ń mójútó ètò ìlera pẹ̀lú àtìlẹ́yìn àwọn ará ìlú Amẹ́ríkà.
You're welcome back. It's still the 1 p.m. news from Splash 105.5 FM. Now turning to the foreign scene. The United States of America has listed conditions for it to recognize a Taliban government in Afghanistan. U.S. Department spokesman Ned Price said they would only recognize a Taliban government if it respects the rights of women and also denounces extremist movements such as Al-Qaeda. Price told reporters that ultimately when it comes to the U.S. posture towards any future government in Afghanistan, it will depend upon the actions of that government. He added that it will depend upon the actions of the Taliban. Price added that the U.S. negotiator on Afghanistan, Zalmay Khalilzad, is still in the Taliban's diplomatic base of Qatar, and there have been talks with the insurgents. U.S. President Joe Biden, during his national address on Monday, also promised to prioritize the treatment of women and girls in Afghanistan. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has congratulated the government, people of Zambia, and the electoral authorities on the conduct of the general elections. Stefan Dujarric, spokesman for the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, said this while briefing correspondents at the UN headquarters in New York. Dujarric said the Secretary General congratulates the government on the conduct of the 12th of August general elections. Zambia's presidential election results on Monday showed that the opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema secured a stunning landslide victory over incumbent Edgar Lungu. Finally, in sports, Tokyo's Athletes Village has reopened today, 7 days before the commencement of the Paralympic Games. According to organizers, the delegations have started arriving at the village a day after the announcement that the Paralympic Games would follow the lead of the Olympics. Organizers have said that fans would, however, be excluded from venues due to the coronavirus pandemic. Toshiro Muto, head of the organizing committee, observed that there were different challenges with Paralympians compared to Olympians. The organizers said they would further enhance safety at the village due to higher health risks for some parathletes suffering severe symptoms in case of infection. Delegations staying at the village would be required to undergo daily COVID-19 testing, wear a face mask, and maintain social distancing, as was the case during the Olympic Games, which ended on August the 8th. The Paralympic Games will see around 4,400 athletes from 160 nations compete in Tokyo from August the 24th until September the 5th. Just before we go, I apologize for that. Just before we go, a recap of the headlines. Federal government to borrow 5.62 trillion naira for 2022 budget deficits. National Broadcasting Commission has cautioned broadcast media against secessionist terrorist agenda. On the foreign scene, U.S. government is giving conditions to recognize Taliban government in Afghanistan. An athletes' village reopens 1 week before Tokyo Paralympics begins. For more details on the news, visit our website on www.splashfm1055.com. Now you can download the Splash FM mobile app on iOS, BlackBerry or on Google Play Store to listen live, get news update, opinion poll, and also report an event live to us through the iPod feature. To download, simply go to any of the stores mentioned and search for Splash FM 105.5, then click to download. We have now come to the end of the news on Splash 105.5 FM, the integrity station and the best radio station in the southwest of the country. The news editor is Tunde Olawuwo, assisted by Chinwe Churchill. I am Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.
Quick, Charger 240.
Hot news, cool vibes, sports, and more on the Integrity Station.